Hey guys, Mandy Ravicchio here, Senior Content Creator with the Michael Hyatt team. Welcome to this special webinar, The 10 Biggest Mistakes You're Making with Goal Setting and How to Fix Them. I'll bring Michael on in just a moment, but before I do, I've got a question for you. Does this sound like you? Since the year started, you've been busier than ever, but you're not sure what you've really accomplished. Perhaps you set some goals at the beginning of the year, but you aren't making meaningful progress on some or all of them. You may be killing it in one area, but you're still struggling to find time for your highest priorities, and the urgent always seems to crowd out the important. The bottom line is that you're disappointed in your progress so far. You know you need to kick it into high gear before the rest of the year slips by, but you don't know where to start, and you're worried it might already be too late. Well, if that sounds like you, then you have definitely come to the right place. Today's webinar is going to equip you to harness these next 6 months and truly make it your best year ever. So now I want to introduce you to our instructor for this special webinar, Michael Hyatt. In case you don't know him, Michael is the author of the book Platform: Get Noticed in a Noisy World. It is a New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today bestseller, along with his latest bestseller, Living Forward, a proven plan to stop drifting and get the life you want. It is a Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and Publishers Weekly bestseller. Michael spent the majority of his career in the world of book publishing, most recently as the chairman and CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishers, the 7th largest publisher in the US. When the company was sold to HarperCollins in 2011, Michael left his position to venture out on his own as a full-time author, speaker, and leadership coach. His blog, michaelhyatt.com, gets almost 1 million page views a month. And his podcast, This Is Your Life, co-hosted by Michelle Kashat, is consistently in the iTunes top 10 for business. Recently, Forbes magazine named him one of the top 10 online experts to follow. In fact, they said if you only have time to follow one expert, Hyatt is our top pick. Michael has been married to his wife, Gail, for 37 years. Together, they have 5 grown daughters, and they also have 4 sons-in-law and 8 grandchildren. Now listen, you've set aside the time to attend this webinar, so I want to encourage you to maximize this time by turning off the ringer on your cell phone, shutting down your email program, and eliminating as many distractions as possible so you can really focus. I promise Michael's content will be well worth it. And again, if you haven't yet downloaded the special webinar workbook that Michael has prepared, you'll want to do that now before we begin. You can do that at bestyearever.me/workbook. If you'd like to tweet about the webinar, please feel free to do so. Please use the hashtag #GoalMistakes and feel free to tag me and Michael. You can find Michael at Michael Hyatt, and I am at Mandy_Riv. Now, finally, before I bring on Michael, if you have questions during this webinar, please enter them in the Q&A area you see on your control panel. Towards the end of the webinar, I'll be asking Michael your questions, so be sure to ask them as you think of them. Now, without further ado, let me bring on our webinar instructor, Mr. Michael Hyatt.
Hey, Mandy. How are you doing?
Hey, Michael. I'm doing great. How are you?
Outstanding. It's a great day.
Fantastic. Well, I am so excited to hear this content today. I had the chance to sneak a peek before we started, and it is phenomenal insight, and I can't wait for you to share it with everybody.
Well, thanks. I can't wait to share it because one of the things that I love doing is help people accomplish their dreams. And so much of it is being able to state your goals in a way that makes it possible for you to accomplish them, and then a few other tweaks. But by the time we get through these 10 mistakes, I think people are going to be really equipped to go out and achieve the things that matter most to them.
Well, that's awesome, Michael. And I feel like when it comes to goal setting, that's one of those things that just about all of us have tried, but so many of us feel like we fail at over and over again, and we're not sure why. And so I'm really excited for you to demystify some of these common mistakes for us, since I know that as I looked through the list, I kind of spotted a few and said, oh man, I've made that one. And I just think it's really going to set people up to be able to win big with goals for the rest of this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think so much of it is most of us haven't been through any formal training on goal setting. So we do the best we can. We think we know it because we've been talking about it forever. But as it turns out, there are these 10 common mistakes that almost everyone makes, and they'll derail you, they'll sabotage your efforts, and they'll keep you from getting what you want. The good news is, with a few simple tweaks, you can make them really work for you and really get what you're after in life.
That's fantastic, Michael. Well, I cannot wait to dive in and hear all of it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my webcam so that we can all focus in on your content, but I will see you at the end of the presentation.
Terrific. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to turn off my webcam and then turn to the next slide here. Well, hey guys, welcome again to today's webinar, the 10 biggest mistakes you're making with goal setting and how to fix them. We've got some incredible content to share with you guys today, but before we get started, I've got a special bonus for you. As my gift to you, just for participating in this webinar today, I'd like to start by giving you a copy of my ebook, Unleash Nature's Secret Success Weapon, a vital key to being successful and accomplishing your goals. This is going to be awesome for you guys. It's going to give you a huge advantage when it comes to being productive, when it comes to achieving the things that matter most to you. And you can download this free at bestyearever.me/secret weapon. You don't have to do it right now. This is going to be up for the next couple of days, but write down the link and you can get it after the webinar is over. Again, bestyearever.me/secret weapon. And as a thank you for staying on this webinar until the end, I'll also give you a copy of my ebook, Jumpstart Your Best Year Ever, 77 goal-setting templates to get started faster. This is my quick start guide to goals that really work. It's going to save you a ton of time spent creating winning goals for the rest of the year. You're going to be able to look at these templates, get some great ideas. It's going to stimulate your creativity. And most importantly, it's going to put them in a format that's going to make it much easier to actually accomplish the goal. So stick around to the very end and grab this free ebook at the end of the webinar. So back to today's topic. Here's what you're going to discover in this webinar. First, one single strategy that will instantly make you 42% more likely to accomplish your goals. It's shocking how many people miss this. Then you're going to discover how to quit-proof your goals to ensure that this year is the year you finally cross that big one off your list. And then you're going to discover a simple but powerful principle that will enable you to defeat procrastination once and for all. Doesn't that sound great? I don't know if you procrastinate. Most of us do at some point or another, but this is one simple principle that's going to really help you. Then the secret to making it through the messy middle. You know what I'm talking about? It happens to all of us. But when you have too much invested to quit, but are not sure you can finish, how do you get through that messy middle? You're going to discover the answer in today's webinar. Then you're going to discover why detailed action plans work against you, and an alternative that's so simple, you're going to wonder why you haven't thought of it before. Then you'll discover the common and seemingly positive goal-setting strategy that is likely sabotaging your success and what to do instead. Then you'll discover 3 negative emotions that are actually positive indicators that prove that you're on the right path. Then you'll discover clarity on the next steps you need to take to start accomplishing what matters and the courage to take action. So let me start with this question. Have you ever felt stuck? Be honest. Maybe you've tried and failed to achieve a list of really important goals. Maybe you feel like you just can't get traction, or you can't sustain the momentum you need to achieve what matters most. Maybe it was a weight loss goal where you tried to lose some weight and for whatever reason just couldn't. Or maybe it was a relationship goal where you wanted a deeper level of intimacy and somebody that really mattered in your life, but you kept getting derailed by other priorities. Or maybe it was a business goal. You just couldn't get that promotion that you wanted, or you couldn't get that business off the ground that you've been dreaming of starting. Well, we've all experienced the disappointment that comes from setting a goal and failing to achieve it. And we've all experienced the fear of trying again after so many failures. So if you're cynical about setting yet another round of goals in your life, especially now when the year is halfway through, you're definitely not alone. Take New Year's resolutions, for example. You know, some people set these every year and they repeatedly fail to accomplish them. Perhaps you've even set some this year and are discouraged with how little progress you've actually made since then. The truth is, New Year's resolutions don't work. 25% of people, based on the research, abandon their New Year's resolutions after just 1 week. Maybe that was you. 60% do so within 6 months. Get this, the average person makes the same New Year's resolution 10 separate times without success. 5% of those who lose weight on a diet keep it off. Incredible. 95% of people regain it. A significant percentage gain back more than they originally lost. A lot of people keep losing and gaining the same pounds over and over again. And even after a heart attack, only 14% of patients make any lasting changes around eating or exercise. So I think we all have to admit that New Year's resolutions simply don't work. But here's the good news. Goals do work, provided we avoid the most common mistakes. And it's not too late for you to win with some of your biggest goals this year. You can get different results. Sometimes all you have to do is change your strategy. I remember years ago, I was out trout fishing, and I couldn't get the fish to bite no matter what I did. I could see the fish. The water was crystal clear. I would drag the bait over their nose. I tried dragging it under their nose, around them, everything I could think of. Nothing seemed to work. But as I walked down the shore, I met another fisherman who was catching fish. I mean, it seemed like a miracle, because here we are on the same lake, and he's catching fish. I'm not catching fish. So I worked up a little bit of courage, and I asked him what he was using, and he graciously showed me the bait. And thankfully, I had that exact bait in my tackle box. I just hadn't thought to use it. Well, I tried that bait, and amazingly, I caught a fish on the very first catch, and I caught several more that same day as well. And sometimes it's like that with your life. You just have to change strategies. You've got to use a different bait. And the same thing is true when it comes to setting goals. As Albert Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So perhaps the reason you've been striking out with goal setting is that you've been using the wrong strategy. It might be that simple. Perhaps a small mistake, like using the wrong bait, has sabotaged your efforts. If that's the case for you, you're definitely not the first person to encounter that struggle. You're in good company. As an entrepreneur and as the CEO of a large corporation, I've had a chance to work with a lot of high achievers over the year, people that get amazing results in their life. These are people who consistently set and achieve important goals. And as I've studied their behaviors, I've realized that what separates them from the masses, from the countless people who repeatedly try and fail to achieve big things, is that high achievers have stopped making some big mistakes that seem to trip up everyone else. In fact, there are 10 major mistakes that most people make which prevent them from achieving their biggest goals and getting what they really want out of life. High achievers have found a way to overcome those top 10 mistakes, and guess what? You can too. That's why we're here today. In this webinar, I'm going to share these 10 mistakes with you and teach you how to conquer the top 10 mistakes and finally achieve your biggest goals. So let's get started. Mistake number one, you focus on only one area of your life. And this results in tunnel vision. You know, it's easy when setting goals to get tunnel vision and focus on only one aspect of your life. How many times have you made a list of 10 goals you want to achieve in your business without considering your health or your most important relationships or some other aspect of your life? And the truth is that we're interconnected beings. Your relationships at home impact the focus you bring to your business or to your organization, right? Your physical health impacts the energy you have for an aspirational project like writing a book. So in order to be effective, our goals must address all the major aspects of our lives. I mean, I think you want to do more than win at work. I think you want to succeed at life, and that takes goal setting in more than one area. So to ensure our goals represent all the main areas, I think it's helpful to think through what I call the 3
circles of life. And first of all, there's the circle of being. This includes your spiritual life, your physical life, your intellectual life. Then there's what I call the circle of relating, and this includes, if you're married, your marital life, if you have kids, your parental life, and your social life, your friendships and your social relationships. Then there's what I want to call the circle of doing, and this includes your financial aspects of your life, your vocational life, and your avocational, which is just kind of a big word for your hobbies or the things that you do outside of work that you're interested in. So you're going to want to make sure, if you're going to avoid this mistake, that you have goals within each of these 3 circles. You may not have goals in every single one of these 9 areas, but you need to have goals in every one of these circles at least. So here's a quick fix to help you overcome mistake number 1. And by the way, we're going to have a quick fix on every single one of these mistakes because I want you to move past the mistake and succeed and not make the mistakes that most people make. So here's quick fix number 1. Think of some goals for 2016 in each of the 3 circles of life. And what I would advise you to do after you get done with this webinar is just jot them down. Just do a brain dump. Don't overthink it. Don't edit yourself, but just write down in each one of these 3 circles, what are some goals that you'd like to pursue related to your health or your relationships or your doing? Okay? So that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, you create too many goals. You know, this is like kind of the opposite problem. Having too many goals results in a lack of focus. You know, productivity studies show that you really can't focus on more than 5 to 7 items at any one time. So when we jot down 25 things we hope to accomplish this year, we're really sabotaging what we want to accomplish. It's like shooting ourselves in the foot. The same is true when we try to cheat by including sections with several goals under each section. And I've seen people that have reported to me in the past try to get around the 5 to 7 rule by doing that very thing. They create sections and then they have 5 to 7 goals in each section. Still has the same result. Too many things, a lack of focus, and a lot of distraction. So this is a recipe for losing focus and accomplishing very little if you have too many goals. So laser focus is essential to achieving big goals. You know, there's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. And the cure is to get crystal clear on your most important priorities, set a goal for each of those, and then pursue it with laser focus. You want to focus on a handful of goals that you can repeat almost from memory. The rule of thumb is 5 to 7 goals. That's ideal, but you should have no more than 10. And just true confession here, I have 10 for 2016. I tried to eliminate some of them, but I'm still at 10 at this moment. I've got more that I would like to accomplish, and as I accomplish the ones that are on my list of 10, that makes room for additional goals that I can add later in the year. But no more than 10 at any one time, but 5 to 7 are ideal. So as you're trying to whittle down your list of goals, ask yourself this question. Which of these goals is the most important to me? I would put them in priority order. Repeat that process until you've identified your top 5 to 7 goals, and then toss the rest until those are accomplished. Okay, so here's a quick fix for this particular mistake. Mistake number 2. Narrow your potential goals down until you only have 5 to 7, no more than 10, for 2016. Okay? You may not think you can do it, but trust me, you're going to sabotage yourself if you try to have more than that. That brings us to mistake number 3. You don't write your goals down. You know, we've all heard this is important. In fact, when I travel around and speak on this topic, I always ask people, how many of you believe in having goals? And every hand in the audience goes up. I mean, who doesn't believe in having goals? But then I say, okay, how many people have their goals written down? Literally, you have a list for this year that you could pull out if I ask you. Very, very few, maybe 2 or 3% of the audience. So part of it is there's been some faulty research about written goals that I think has derailed some people. You may have heard about a Harvard MBA goal study that was conducted way back in 1953. That was even before I was born. 3% of the graduating class had written goals, and then they tracked these students for 30 years. And in 1983, they discovered that those 3%, on average, were making 10 times as much as the rest of the class combined. I mean, that is an awesome, incredibly compelling story. Unfortunately, it's a myth. It never happened. The story's been debunked by several people, including Sid Severa at Yale University. But don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, because the truth is there have been several reliable studies on the power of written goals. For example, Dr. Gail Matthews, who's a psychology professor at Dominican University, California, did her own study that involved 267 participants. And it's a great study to read, by the way, but among other things, she discovered that you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. But why is this simple act of writing your goals down so important? Well, I think it comes down to the fact that good intentions can sabotage decisive action. Winning with goals is all about putting our best intentions into action, and that begins by writing them down. Albert Schleiter said, "We tend to judge others by their behavior and ourselves by our intentions, but your intentions won't change your life. They won't change your family. They're not going to change your business or the world if you don't translate them into actions." And a piece of paper is more permanent. It's more concrete than just a thought. It's the way that you begin to create change and bring about something that's concrete and specific into the world. So writing down your goals is the first step to translating your intentions into actions. So here's a quick fix to help you overcome mistake number 3. Simply write down the goals that you thought about in steps 1 and 2. That's it. If you write down your goals, that's going to give you a 42% better chance of actually accomplishing them in 2016. So don't fail to do this. If you just write them down, you're going to be miles ahead of everybody else who claims to be committed to goals but hasn't taken the trouble to write them down. And that leads us to mistake number 4. You don't make your goals specific. Huge mistake. I see people make this all the time. You don't make your goals specific. Now, dreams and goals are two different things. And when I speak about goals, I'm not talking about vague dreams, aspirations. I'm not even talking about affirmations, though those certainly have value in the right context. There are some defining attributes that differentiate goals from all the rest, and here's one of the most important. Goals must be specific and concrete. And I want to give you several examples to drill this into your head so you don't miss it. For example, you might be tempted to write down for 2016 that you want to learn photography. But once you've written that down, what's your next step? How exactly would you go about learning photography? I mean, that sounds like a massive topic. How do you know when you're done? But instead, if you wrote down something specific, like complete Jeremy Cowart's photography course, Jeremy's a photographer with a course online, but completing his course, you'll know exactly how to get started, and more importantly, you'll know when you're done and when you can check it off your list. So goals have to be actionable. Specificity matters because it makes our aspirations actionable. We can do something about it. So true goals lend themselves to quick, clear, decisive action. And that's what makes it possible to actively accomplish them rather than, just wait passively for them as we would for a dream, waiting for our ship to come in versus swimming out to our ship. The bottom line is that dreams may be imaginable, but goals are actionable. You can always evaluate the specificity of your goals by asking yourself, is this actionable? Now, here's a quick fix to help you overcome mistake number 4. Tweak your goals to make them more specific, okay? Tweak them until they're specific. Oftentimes this will include a number, but something that makes it specific, not general. That leads us to mistake number 5. You don't make your goals measurable. If you want to win with goal setting, you've got to quantify your goals. As the old adage says, you can't manage what you can't measure. I love that quote. The only way to know if you've achieved a goal is to quantify it. But let's review some examples, again, of measurable goals to tell you exactly or to show you exactly what I mean. You might be tempted to write down this goal for 2016. In fact, millions of people have this on their goal every year, which is to lose weight. But again, is it measurable? How will you know if you achieved it? I mean, if you lose a pound, did you accomplish your goal? If you lose 20 pounds, did you accomplish your goal? A better goal would be to lose 35 pounds or whatever the number is for you. It's specific. It's concrete, as we saw in overcoming the last mistake, but it's also measurable. Here's another example. You may have a goal that you want to attain financial freedom, and you might write that down as getting out of debt. The problem, again, is that this goal is not measurable. If you write down, I want to pay off $33,318 of debt, that's the kind of specificity that motivates you and then moves you towards your goal. So when in doubt, assign a number or a percentage to each goal. It's an easy way to ensure that your goals are measurable. And you want to know absolutely, positively, whether or not you hit the goal. And that's why measurability matters so much. Quick fix to overcome mistake number 5. Make sure each goal is measurable. And usually that's reflected in a number. Mistake number 6. You don't assign a deadline. I love this one. But one of the biggest productivity secrets I've discovered is that tasks expand to the amount of time allotted for them. In fact, this is called Parkinson's Law. You may have heard about it. The same is true for goals. If you don't create a fixed period of time for achieving a goal, you may find yourself pursuing it half-heartedly for years because there's no deadline. You know, you can always do it tomorrow. There are 3 major benefits you receive by setting deadlines. First of all, a deadline creates a sense of urgency. Man, I love this one. You need a sense of urgency if you're going to get up off the couch, if you're going to get in the game, if you're going to actually achieve your goal. The other thing about deadlines is they balance your workload. When you put deadlines in your goals, you realize that some of them you need to get to busy on now, but some of them truly can wait till later because the deadlines are further into the future. So it balances out your workload. Third, it helps prioritize your daily tasks. You know, as the deadline is looming, as you're approaching it, suddenly, as it becomes more urgent, it gets a higher priority in your daily task list, and that's important. So 3 benefits of setting deadlines. And here are some examples of how this would apply to goal setting. Rather than just writing down for 2016, lose 35 pounds, and that's specific, it's concrete, it's measurable, that's all great. You also want to add a deadline. Lose 35 pounds by June the 1st. Now all of a sudden, you realize that if you're going to do that, if you're serious about it, you got to get into the game. You got to take action. Or instead of writing, pay off credit card debt of $33,318, which again is specific, it's measurable. You also want to add a deadline. Pay off $33,318 by December the 31st. That deadline gives you a sense of urgency about it. So here's a quick fix, and believe me, this is so easy, but I was literally today, just in reviewing some goals that people were posting online, I can't tell you how many, and I mean these are leaders that you would expect to know better, but how many of them didn't have a deadline. I don't want you to fall prey to this mistake. Assign a deadline for each goal. That leads us to mistake number 7, and that's this. You don't stretch outside your comfort zone. You know, the sad fact is, most people spend the majority of their lives inside the comfort zone. Why? Because it's comfortable, obviously. But the problem is that nothing great ever happens inside the comfort zone. You know, grocery shopping and to-do list making, those happen in the comfort zone. but grand adventures and incredible achievements don't. Or to put it another way, if your dreams are inside your comfort zone, they're not really dreams. And I would say the same is true for goals. If you're after greatness, if you're after adventure, if you're after making 2016 your best year ever, you're going to have to go beyond the point of comfort to get what you really want. I've found that there are 3 different zones that exist when it comes to pursuing goals. There's the comfort zone, there's the discomfort zone, and then there's what I call the delusional zone. You know, it's counterintuitive because the comfort zone is so, well, comfortable, but the discomfort zone is actually the place where we want to be. That's the place where the juice is. It's the place where achieving greatness, accomplishing great things, living an adventurous life, achieving your best year ever, all that happens in the discomfort zone. And one of the biggest things that pushes us back into our comfort zone is that we tend to get hit with some negative emotions as soon as we start entering the discomfort zone. That's kind of the whole point. We begin to feel uncomfortable. But we have to realize that some seemingly negative emotions are actually positive indicators. I want to say that again because it's powerful. If you can reframe these negative emotions for yourself, it'll be a game changer for you. We have to realize that some seemingly negative emotions are actually positive indicators. And there are 3 in particular that you'll hit every time you're transitioning into the comfort zone. When you go from the one zone to the next, you're going to begin to feel these. Emotion number 1 is fear. You think, I'm afraid I might fail. I may not hit that goal. It may be too big. It may be too scary. Or the second emotion is uncertainty. You start to worry that, man, I'm not even sure how to accomplish this. I wouldn't even know where to start. That's an indication that you're in the discomfort zone. It's a positive indicator. Just like emotion number 3, doubt. You think, wow, I'm not sure I've got the resources. I don't know if I have what it takes to succeed. Have you ever felt that way? If you have, great. That means you've dialed your goals up to the point where you're in the discomfort zone. And these seemingly negative emotions are actually positive indicators. Now, I'm not suggesting you get into the delusional zone. So, for example, it might be uncomfortable for me to get in the zone in my golf game of shaving 5 points off my handicap. You know, that makes me uncomfortable. I'm not sure how I would accomplish that. It scares me a little bit. I'm not sure I can actually do it. But if I said I want to go on the senior golf tour, professional tour, that's probably delusional. You know, that's probably not going to happen given my experience and my ability. So you want to be in the discomfort zone, but not in the delusional zone. And again, you want to look for those negative emotions as indication that you're in the discomfort zone. So the key is to reframe those emotions in your mind and embrace them. Learn to see them as clear signs that you're on the right path. We're doing something better and more challenging than we've ever done before, and we're right where we need to be in the discomfort zone. And by the way, some of the research shows that when the goals are in the discomfort zone, then they become sufficiently compelling for you to follow through. And when you set them in the comfort zone, you just kind of go, you know, it's not even worth it because it's an incremental improvement over what I have now. Not that compelling, not that exciting. So, quick fix for this. Evaluate each goal, each of your goals for 2016, to see if it would push you outside your comfort zone. That brings us to mistake number 8. You don't make your goals compelling. The truth is, nobody perseveres. And let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of work between here and there, right? In order to accomplish your goal, particularly a goal that's in the discomfort zone, there's going to be a lot of work. And no one perseveres unless they care. And to maximize your persistence, we have to pursue goals that really matter to us. Now think about parenting or getting fit or hitting a major professional goal. All these challenges will test our perseverance. The trick is to connect with what's at stake. So start by asking yourself, why does it matter? If you don't have a clear compelling answer to that question, there's no way you'll have the conviction you need to stick it out through what I'm calling the messy middle. You know what I'm talking about? It's that point in any journey when you're too far in to quit, but you're not sure you have the resources to finish. And that's the time when you're most likely going to quit. And when you pursue a meaningful goal, I don't care what it is, at the beginning it's exhilarating, right? I mean, think about running a half marathon or a full marathon or any race. Everybody's enthusiastic at the start line. And when everybody's enthusiastic at the end, at the finish. You know, for the people that finish, you know, their hands are outstretched, they're excited, their friends and family are cheering them on. But it's in the middle where it gets tough. And you'll always short circuit when you choose a goal that's not meaningful to you. As my beautiful wife Gail says, people lose their way when they lose their why. If you don't know why it matters, you won't have the energy you need to see it through. Here's some characteristics, 4 attributes of compelling goals, goals that really matter to you. And these are the things that I look for. First of all, I want a goal that's either spiritually meaningful, or it's intellectually stimulating, or it's emotionally energizing, or it's physically challenging. And if you're not hitting at least one of these criteria, you're setting yourself up to fail. So here's a quick fix. I want you to evaluate each goal to make sure that it's truly compelling. This is the way to fix mistake 8. Evaluate each goal and ask yourself the question, is this compelling? Is it exciting? Is it interesting? And you get there by asking why. And that leads us to mistake number 9. You don't identify the next action. You know, the biggest obstacle that you and I face to getting started and to achieving the biggest goals that we have for our lives is what? That's right, procrastination. It's easy to put things off when you feel overwhelmed. And let's face it, just the day-to-day challenge of living can be draining and make you feel overwhelmed. And to the extent that a project is something big, something you've never attempted before, it's just easy to push the pause button and just not start. But here's what I've observed and learned from high achievers in every field. They know that procrastination is a real enemy. And they've learned that excessive planning is often a fancy way to procrastinate. You know, some people spend a lot of time breaking projects down and going into a lot of detail. And largely, that's a fancy way to procrastinate. That's why high achievers, they do break projects down into bite-sized pieces. It's important to set goals, but that's not enough. Eventually, you know, you got to lace up your shoes, you got to get on the trail, and that's how it's going to be for you. You got to break it down to bite-sized pieces. But if you want to achieve big things, you've got to actually start. And if you want to start, you've got to chunk it down so there's a bite-sized piece that you can actually accomplish, usually in less than a day or at the most a few days. High achievers, they don't focus on the whole plan. What they focus on, now get this, the next step. They don't get distracted by trying to figure out the whole path. High achievers know that the path becomes clear only when they're in motion. Let me say that again. High achievers know that the path only becomes clear when they're in motion. As Zig Ziglar said, love this quote, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Or to put it another way, perfectionism is the mother of procrastination. Can I get an amen? Have you been there? Think about it. If you try to figure out how to do something you've never done before perfectly the first time through, it's going to leave you feeling paralyzed. Focusing on the next right step is the key to reclaiming forward momentum. So here's a quick fix to help you overcome mistake number 9. Identify one next action step for each goal. Don't leave the site of goal planning until you've done that. Identify one next action step for each goal. And when you check that one off, identify the next action step. How can you move the ball down the field one play at a time till you've got it in the end zone? That brings us to mistake number 10. And this kills lots of people. You don't keep your goals visible. Lack of visibility is a major mistake. Think about it. How many times have you written down a set of goals and never looked at them again? I've done it plenty of times, more times than I'd like to admit. That's why you need a plan to keep them visible so you don't forget about them, so that you keep them visible where they can remind you of what matters most. Now, that may mean reviewing them daily, weekly, or at some other regular interval. But as the old adage says, out of sight, out of mind. Think about how many things demand your attention each day. If you offer your goals time, attention, and focus you have left over, you're never going to make meaningful progress. You're not. You've got to keep them visible. You need a clear plan to keep them visible. I remember when I was writing my first book, Platform Get Noticed in a Noisy World, I literally read my goal out loud at the beginning of each day. And I also reviewed what was at stake. I tried to exercise faith by visualizing the goal as if it were completed. I mean, what would that be like to actually hold this book in my hands to have it finished? So reconnecting to the dream and why it was important took the tedium out of daily writing. It gave me purpose and meaning, and it kept me going when I wanted to quit. Now, I keep a framed list of my goals, they're right here to my right, hanging on the wall. And my daughter Megan does the same thing. She runs the operations for my company. She has her goals up on a framed list just like this. But your goals have to stay in sight in order to stay in mind. So I've also created my own goal tracking system that works with my favorite free app. I hope you love it as much as I do, and if you've never heard of it, you must try it. It's called Evernote. It's what I use to keep my goals visible all year long. I review them daily in Evernote, and I'd like to share with you this goal tracking system. I guarantee it'll dramatically improve your results as you pursue your most important goals this year. So stay with us until the end of the webinar to find out how you can get a copy of this absolutely free. Now, the quick fix to overcome mistake number 10 is decide where you will display your goals. It could be on your wall. It could be on your desk. Last year, I had one of my daughters, I paid her a little money to create images, one per goal, and then I created a series of screensavers on my Mac so that it would rotate through all those goals as my computer, as the display shut down. That was awesome. Very motivational because the pictures engaged another sense, my visual sense.
So to recap, here are the top 10 mistakes again. Mistake number 1, you focus on only one area of your life. Mistake number 2, you create too many goals. Mistake number 3, you don't write your goals down. Mistake number 4, you don't make your goals specific. Mistake number 5, you don't make your goals measurable. Mistake number 6, you don't assign a deadline. Mistake number 7, you don't stretch outside your comfort zone. So important. Mistake number 8, you don't make your goals compelling. Mistake number 9, you don't identify the next action. And mistake number 10, you don't keep your goals visible. Now, as I said at the beginning of the webinar, these 10 mistakes are the reason so many people fail to achieve their most important goals. And I've given you a quick fix to help you tackle each one. But the truth is, you don't just need a quick fix. You need a better way. And a lot of people feel overwhelmed when they're thinking about setting and pursuing their most important goals. So I'd like you to take a moment to imagine what a win would look like for you. What would it feel like, for example, if you could get what you want for the rest of the year, to get to December the 31st, having accomplished what mattered most to you? What would that feel like? What would it be like, for example, to be in the best shape of your life? What if you could lose those extra pounds, whether it's 20 pounds or 50 pounds? Imagine yourself at the end of this year pulling on the jeans you're wearing right now and they don't fit. You're swimming in them. How awesome would that feel? Or what would it be like to get to the end of 2016 having finished a couple dozen books? Think of the new ideas that would have been unleashed in your mind. Think about how much more valuable you would be to your business. Think how much more interesting you would be at a cocktail party. Or what would it be like to really take your most significant relationship to the next level? Imagine a level of intimacy you've never known before. Imagine a relationship where you couldn't wait to spend time with your spouse. Or imagine knowing and being known, understanding and being understood with someone who shared your most important priorities, your most significant goals, and offered you the encouragement and the support that others only dream of. Or what would it feel like to have money left over at the end of the month? Think what it might be like to be debt free, owing nothing to anyone. Think what it would be like to have the money you need to meet your expenses, protect yourself against the unexpected, and invest for the future. Think how satisfying it would be to give your family the things they want and deserve. You may be worried that it's too late, but I got to tell you, 6 months is plenty of time to accomplish all of this and more. But you've got to get serious about goals right now. So let's go back to the very beginning. When you decided to register for this webinar, why did you decide to attend? You're not here by accident. I'll bet you're here for one of the following reasons. First of all, you want to live a life that matters and reach your potential, but there's just too much to do and too little time. The important things are falling through the cracks, aren't they? You know you're capable of more, but it feels like time is running out. And you don't want to just survive. You want to make meaningful progress towards something that really matters. There was a reason why you were attracted to this webinar. You went to the trouble to show up, and why you're still here. It's a clue. Look, whether you're a spiritual person or not, I think you've got to admit it's interesting how things tend to show up right when you seem to need them. Well, I think this is one of those moments. There is something big in your future, but you've come to a crossroads and you have to decide what you're going to do now. And basically, you've got three choices. First of all, you could just give up and assume things would never change. You could quit altogether. Number two, you could continue to go it alone, hoping to get better results. Or three, you can let me help you get better results by using proven strategies. And it really comes down to this question. Do you really have time to figure it out on your own? What's the lost opportunity cost of putting your life on hold, going through another year and not achieving your goals? I understand how hard it can be. I've faced the same challenges you face today, including the overwhelming demands of a large family, a growing career that never seems to leave time for anything else. And along the way, I've made plenty of mistakes. But as a former book publisher, I've also had the opportunity to work side by side with some of the most accomplished people in the world. For years, I've been privileged to study their habits, their best practices, and amazingly, I've figured out how to accomplish extraordinary success, both personally and professionally, and a system for finally achieving what matters most. Here's the bottom line. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you've tried and failed to set goals or that you keep getting derailed. The process is simply broken, and what you need is a better way. And that's exactly why I developed my course, 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever. I leveraged all of my experience, all of my relationships to extract exactly what you need to reach your potential by the end of 2016. You know, it's not just about setting goals for the rest of this year. It's about discovering a powerful process, a system, if you will, for identifying the right goals and using a proven plan to finally accomplish them. But first, before I tell you about the course, I'd like to remind you about the special free bonus I have for you today. As a thank you for staying on this webinar until the end, I'm going to give you a free copy of my ebook, Jumpstart Your Best Year Ever, 77 Goal-Setting Templates to Get Started Faster. This is my quick start guide to goals that really work. And it's going to save you a ton of time spent creating winning goals for the rest of the year. So stick around to grab this free ebook. I'm going to give you the link at the end of the webinar. So we've got our Q&A coming up soon, where I'll be answering your questions about goal setting. So if you have any questions, send them over to us in the Q&A window now, and we'll get to as many as we can at the end of the webinar. So what is 5 days to your best year ever. Well, it's the only goal setting system you're ever going to need. It's designed to guide you through the process of designing your best year ever. And I want to reiterate that it's not too late. You can still have your best year ever, even starting right now at the halfway point. It takes just 30 to 45 minutes a day, one half-day session altogether, but it's designed to give you the clarity, the courage, and the commitment you need to finally achieve your biggest dreams. I introduced this course for the first time just 2 years ago. Since then, we've had more than 15,000 happy customers go through it. People like Lee Radford, who at the age of 46 ran his first 10K. Lee sent us this photo along with a note that read, "I've been training and staying on track because of Best Year Ever principles. Thanks to Michael and his community for inspiring me." Or Ross Grant. Ross had been struggling for more than 3 years to achieve a pivotal business goal that he knew would mean big things for his company. And after going through the Best Year Ever program, Ross successfully accomplished that goal in less than a month, and it brought in $54,000 of additional revenue for his business this year. And here's what Ross had to say: "By helping me get my head around what I want, why I want it, and how I'm going to get it, Buy has changed my life in every way imaginable. Thank you from the bottom of my heart." There's also Kim Gowdy, who just published her first book and raves, "Thank you for your encouragement and support. It has definitely been my best year ever." I also love the results that Ray Edwards experienced. Ray says, "Since doing the Best Year Ever program 12 months ago, I've eliminated over $100,000 of debt, restructured my business to serve me, my family, and my customers better, and been able to give more to our church, and lost over 51 pounds of fat." I was just recently with Ray, and he's still got it off. He's doing terrific. Now, if that doesn't qualify as a best year ever, I don't know what does. Ray went on to say, by the way, the weight loss goal has been on my list every year for the last 15 years, and every year I have failed until now. Amazing. Thousands of people have gotten big results by applying the transformative content in this course to their lives, and you will too. Here's an inside look at the kind of content you could expect. In video number 1, I share 3 truths about the future that you must embrace if you're going to design your best year ever. Specifically, I talk about believe in the possibility. I talk about your limiting beliefs and how they're keeping you stuck, the power and the importance of clarity and why it's more important than strategy or resources, and why you won't get more of what you want until you're thankful for what you have. In video 2, I share 7 powerful questions to ask about last year. These are designed to help you process your experiences and ensure they don't hold you back. Specifically, I talk about how to complete the past, why you need to deal with disappointments, regrets, and losses so they don't sabotage your success. And then I talk about how to distill the major lessons from the past year so you don't end up repeating them again in the rest of this year. Then in video number 3, I share exactly how to turn vague aspirations into powerful, compelling goals. And I do this by diving into the 4 goal-setting habits that high achievers employ to accomplish their biggest goals. Specifically, I talk about designing your future, how to increase the likelihood of achieving your goals by 42%, the science that proves your goals should be bigger, not smaller, my proprietary A-Action framework guaranteed to help you get better goals and get better results. In video number 4, I share how you can identify your why and unleash a powerful source of personal motivation by taking 5 specific actions. Specifically, I talk about why you must connect with your goals intellectually and emotionally, how to keep your motivations present to your thinking so they energize you to finish when you're most tempted to quit. And then in video 5, I address the most important topic. As it turns out, identifying the goal is only half the job. In this video, I share how you can take definitive action now, build momentum, and harness the power of incremental change over time. This lesson is the key to unlocking massive success over the next 6 months. Specifically, I talk about one word you must eliminate from your vocabulary to make steady progress. I talk about how to make sure the urgent doesn't crowd out the important, and a simple hack for getting unstuck when you don't know what to do next. Now, here's how the content is delivered. First of all, there are 5 separate videos, one for each day if you choose to do this over a 5-day period. Again, 30 to 45 minutes each day. 5 separate videos. We also include a complete transcript of the video for reference and a workbook for each day with exercises designed to help you apply what you learn. And the transcript and the workbook are delivered via PDF. And we've pulled out all the stops to help you win big with your goals this year, including bringing in an adult education expert to build out this workbook. It's phenomenal. And I'm determined to help you see great results, and the workbook is going to help you do that. We even provide an audio version of the daily video if you prefer to listen at the gym or on your commute, or you just want to review it sometime later. The great news is that all of this is delivered digitally, so there are no shipping costs, and you can access it immediately from anywhere on the planet where you have an internet connection. And by the way, the site where all this is housed is totally responsive, which means that you can access it on any device, including iPods, iPads, iPhones, Android devices, whatever. So who is this course for? Well, honestly, almost everyone. Entrepreneurs, including small business owners, authors, artists, designers, bloggers, speakers, coaches, consultants, freelancers, and contractors. Corporate executives, including CEOs, CFOs, C-suite executives, mid-level managers, people just starting out, and people just finishing up, or anyone thinking about a career transition, whether that's a promotion, a new job at another company or industry, or even stepping out to start your own business. Ministry leaders, including pastors, church staff, denominational executives, or anyone working in a nonprofit or volunteer organization. Even public servants, including elected officials, political appointees, military personnel, department heads, or anyone in mid-level management, whether at the federal, state, or local level. Educators, including administrators, deans, principals, professors, teachers, even homeschooling parents. Students, including those in high school, college, or even graduate students. And by the way, it's even appropriate for stay-at-home moms or dads. In short, it's for anyone who wants to make 2016 their best year ever, whether in their professional life, their personal life, or both. Now, I know you're busy, which means you're probably wondering, how much time does it take? Well, the answer is not much time at all. You can complete 5 days to your best year ever in just 45 minutes per day for 5 days, or one single half-day session. I mean, that's not that much time to design the rest of your year and make it your best year ever. That's it. And today we're offering you a very special edition of 5 days to your best year ever. It's called the VIP package, and it includes all the standard course materials, the 5-module online course, the downloadable workbook and action plan, some special bonuses, which I'll tell you about momentarily, and a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus VIP coaching, a carefully designed program to give you the hands-on guidance you need to make the most of these next 6 months. Look, it's inevitable. You're going to face some kind of challenge on the path to making the rest of this year your best year ever. We all do. And it's in these moments where you're going to be tested. And that's why I'm going to be with you every step of the way, every single month, with monthly coaching videos. I'm going to keep you focused and on track while providing you with helpful strategies for overcoming the obstacles that stand in your way. In addition to the monthly coaching videos, I'm going to be hosting live video check-in calls where every 3 months, once a quarter, you'll have the opportunity to ask me specific follow-up questions. This is where you'll get personalized answers for any question you have about moving yourself closer and closer to accomplishing your goals. The VIP package also includes an exclusive presentation that I've created especially for those who are trying to figure out how to win with goals when they're already halfway through the year, which is where we're at now. This is what I call the messy middle. It's where most people get stuck, and it's going to show you how to get not only back on track, but how to have your biggest gains in these final 6 months of the year. And after this presentation, you're going to be crystal clear on what your next step should be. Most importantly, it also includes an invitation to our exclusive private Facebook group. Now, the fact of the matter is that accountability and camaraderie are two of the biggest factors that contribute to massive success and goal achievement. And in this Facebook group, you'll have immediate access to a thriving tribe of like minded achievers who are after big things in 2016. Every day for the rest of the year, we'll encourage and motivate each other, plus tackle our toughest obstacles together. It's an incredible community that has celebrated hundreds of amazing achievements already this year, and I'd love to see you in there. Now, think of the VIP package as your personal goal achieving GPS. We'll guide you step by step for the rest of the year so that you can achieve more in 6 months than so many others do in 12. So, what are the benefits? What can you expect to get out of this program? Well, you'll get the clarity you need to win with your biggest goals. You'll learn how to start, remain, and finish strong. You'll discover how to fast track your goals to make the next 6 months your best 6 months. And you'll get to celebrate finally accomplishing the goals you've been dreaming about for years. So, how much does it cost? You can get the VIP edition of 5 days to your best year ever for just one easy payment of $297. But there's a catch. Public enrollment for Best Year Ever 2016 is already closed for the year. However, I've decided to reopen enrollment for a limited time only to give you a chance to win big with your most important goals over the next 6 months. This private enrollment, it's open for just 2 days. Enrollment closes on June 9th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. After that, you won't have another chance to access the Best Year Ever course until next year. So now is the time to act. This is your chance to leverage the rest of 2016 to make this your best year ever. Just go to bestyearever.me/VIP to join. Again, that's bestyearever.me/VIP. You know, you may not have invested in yourself like this before. I don't know. But the truth is that this course has produced dramatic results for over 15,000 of our customers. And I'm confident it'll work for you. Just think about the amount of money you spent in the past for diet programs or gym memberships that went unused, or for a marriage retreat, or even counseling to repair a neglected relationship. Or look forward to all of the goals you're still hoping to reach. How much would you pay for a personal coach to walk with you every step of the way to ensure that those aspirations finally become a reality this year? The bottom line is that this course and your future are absolutely worth the investment. And to make it an easy decision for you, I've also created 3 bonus products that you'll get with this course absolutely free. I've designed each one to help you maximize your productivity and to give you the tools you'll need to have a major breakthrough. First, you'll get access to the video interview where I share my personal answers to the 7 questions I outline in the second lesson of this course. These questions are all designed to set you up for your best year ever. And in this exclusive interview, I'll share my highs and my lows for the past year and my biggest goal for this current year. Next, you'll get a copy of my personal template for a productive day. I love this. This is a simple step-by-step exercise designed to help you craft a morning routine that sets the stage for a productive day and moves you closer to your most important goals. And finally, you'll get my beginner's guide to task management. And in this audio lesson, I'll share with you the software solution I rely on every day to make sure the most important things get checked off my list. I'll show you how to stay focused, how to prioritize your tasks, and finally, get control of your to-do list. All 3 bonuses are included as part of my 5 days to your best year ever VIP package. That's in addition to the bonuses I've already told you about: the monthly coaching videos, the quarterly live check-in calls, the exclusive 5 days to your best year ever VIP Facebook group, and the Messy in the Middle video teaching, which you'll receive this month. Look, you joined this webinar today because you have important, life-changing goals for the rest of this year. And I want you to know, I believe in you. You really do have what it takes to live the life you've dreamed of and change your family, your company, or the whole world for the better by fulfilling your potential. But if you're not careful, years can fly by while you're busy trying to figure it all out, while you're trying to keep up with all the demands of life. And that's why so many people carry major goals with them from year to year and never actually accomplish the things they dream of. But this doesn't have to be the case for you. These next 6 months could be transformative for you. At the end of this year, your life could be drastically different in just 6 months. You could be enjoying the best health, relationships, business success, financial soundness, and personal fulfillment like you've never experienced, but only if you let me help you. The bottom line is that coaching helps you go further, faster. I've walked this road before and I can guide you along the way, but only if you take advantage of this course right now. I'm so convinced that this course is exactly what you need to achieve your best year ever that I also offer an ironclad money back guarantee. And here's what it says. My best year ever course comes with a 30-day money back guarantee. If you purchase this course today and don't agree it's worth every penny I said it was, just send me an email at support@michaelhyatt.com. I'll promptly refund your money. No questions asked, no hassle. You've got my word on it. This is a risk-free purchase. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And again, this special mid-year registration window for Best Year Ever is only available for a limited time. We're going to close the doors on June the 9th at 11:59 Pacific time. After that, you'll have to wait several months for your next chance to join when we reopen enrollment for 2017. Do you really have months to waste waiting? Again, the price is just one easy payment of $297, and that includes coaching from me for the rest of the year. So to register, just go to bestyearever.me/VIP. It'll take you less than 2 minutes. Look, what would it be worth to you to truly experience your best year ever by the end of this year? To take your spiritual life, your physical health, your most important relationships, your business, your career, or your finances to the next level. That would be a small price to pay to achieve your goals, right? Well, absolutely. And this is your chance to do it. One last thing before we get to the Q&A. If you order before this webinar ends, and we still have the Q&A to go, so you've still got time, I'll give you my incredibly powerful goal tracking system for free. As we discussed in mistake 10, it doesn't matter how big or important a goal is. If we don't review it, it's going to fade from memory. What that means is that we need an intentional, regular review process for our goals. And this is my customized solution for tracking your goals all year long using my favorite free tool, Evernote. You'll get an importable Evernote template and a screencast from me where I'll walk you through click by click 4 steps to set up your own goal progress tracking system, or GPS. It'll allow you to easily keep your goals visible all year long and dramatically improve your results. The deadline for this powerful bonus has already passed, but I'm making it available one more time exclusively for those who purchase during this webinar. But remember, you got to register before we finish the Q&A, which we're going to do in just a minute. If you remember back at the beginning of the webinar, I promised you a bonus just for staying on, and I want to give that to you now. You can find it at bestyearever.me/jumpstart. Again, it's called Jumpstart Your Best Year Ever, 77 goal setting templates to get started faster. Again, download that at bestyearever.me/jumpstart. You can do that immediately after the webinar ends. It's going to be up for the next couple of days. So today we reviewed the 10 biggest mistakes you're making in goal setting, but now I'll let you in on a secret 11th mistake. You don't get help with your goals. That's the 11th mistake. People who don't get help with their goals. I don't know why we feel the need to go it alone in our goals, and it's a huge mistake. A goal represents new ground, new territory, which by necessity means you don't know how to traverse it. Sometimes all we need to overcome the resistance is a helping hand. And today, I want you to believe in yourself enough to make this investment in your future and get the help you need to win big. I certainly believe in you. I believe that you really can have your best year ever this year, and I would be honored to help you make it happen. Now, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mandy.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Mandy.
Man, that was a phenomenal presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I loved giving it because I really believe in this content. I know what a difference it can make.
Well, I absolutely loved it. And I'm not the only one. We have been getting some phenomenal feedback from our attendees here. So let's see. Adam said, "Thank you, Michael, for a riveting, compelling presentation. I am certain that this is the right course for me right now. All the best wishes to you." And
Awesome.
Derek says, "I'm a repeat customer coming back for year two. I am so excited to get started. It has been an awesome and inspiring webinar. You guys rock."
That's awesome. So encouraging. Love hearing that stuff.
Absolutely encouraging. Well, Michael, thank you so much for sharing all of that incredible insight with us.
You're welcome.
Now, we have had questions flooding in fast and furious, so I want to try to get to as many as we possibly can before our countdown timer expires here. So I'm going to start off with a question from Antonio because I think it's probably the question that is on a lot of people's minds right now. And Antonio said, "This was a really great webinar, but it feels like it's just too late. We're already halfway through the year. Is it really worthwhile to start setting goals now?"
Absolutely. In fact, I think the compressed time frame actually helps you because it creates a sense of urgency. You don't have to sustain this over 12 months. You only have to sustain it over 6 months. And when I think back over some of the most significant things I've ever done, like writing books, like starting a business, all the initial parts of that, I mean, literally writing my last two books, both of which were national bestsellers, I did in 30 days or less. So it doesn't take 6 months. I mean, it may take you a little more time if it's your first book, but you've got plenty of time on the clock to do almost anything you want.
That's so true, Michael. Okay, so here's a question from Rhonda, and this is another one that I think a lot of people have in mind. Rhonda said, "Okay, so here's the thing. I really want to set goals, but I'm pretty sure that I will quit at some point. Disappointment and failure just seem inevitable. So, is there a way to overcome this fear and this pattern that I've seen in my life and finally achieve the things that matter to me?"
Yeah, well, obviously, if you repeat the same thing that you've always done in the past, you're going to get the same result. And what most people do is they set their goals and then they stick them in a desk drawer or they file them away somewhere where they're out of sight, and they just don't achieve them. And they do that year after year. What we're selling here and what we're communicating is a total system. And we're going to provide the support, especially in the VIP Facebook group, that's going to give you the encouragement, the motivation, and the practical steps that you're going to need so that you don't quit. That's our commitment to you. The last thing we want is for you to quit. And we've taken every measure I know how to take to make sure that doesn't happen.
That's awesome, Michael. And I really feel like that kind of accountability and camaraderie that keeps your goals visible and keeps you focused is
Yes.
really the best way to quit proof your goals and to make sure that you don't tap out because somebody is watching and somebody's cheering you on. And so we've already seen it happen. We've had 6 months of this VIP group running, and we've seen people getting amazing results. They're losing weight, they're achieving business goals, they're spending more time with their family. And every time they're accomplishing one of these goals, they've got somebody cheering them on. And then every time they're feeling stuck, they've got somebody saying, "Hey, get back in the game. You can do this. It's
Yep.
worthwhile." And I mean, it really does just kind of quit proof the situation.
Yeah, I don't know why we think when we're doing goal setting that we've got to go it alone. For those of us that live in the US, maybe it's just kind of the American spirit. We think we've got to be the Lone Ranger and do it ourselves, but it works so much better when you're in a community where people can cheer you on, as you said, give you the practical steps when you get stuck, help you to brainstorm different strategies, but to stay connected to your goals so you actually achieve what you set out to do. And all that's possible with the system that we've provided.
That's so good. All right, so here's a question from Lisa from Kansas that I think is awesome. Lisa said, "I'm fired up about setting goals, but I only have one problem. My husband isn't really. And some of the goals that I want to achieve, like financial ones, will need his buy in order to accomplish them. So, how do I get my husband on board?"
Yeah, we get this question a lot, right? And
We do.
one of the things I want to suggest is that you invite your husband to watch the first video. And one of the ways you might do it is just say something like, "Hey, I'm going through this new course, 5 days to your best year ever. And I wonder if you could watch the first video with me. It's only about 20 minutes long. And, it'd be great if you could do it with me. If you don't want to do it, no problem. But I'd love for you to do it with me." Now, let's say that he watches it and he says, "No, that's just not for me." It's okay. There's lots of other goals that you can accomplish. And I think that when your spouse sees you starting to make progress in any area of your life, it's much easier to recruit them and to enroll them and get their buy-in for next year. I mean, this isn't the last year you're going to want to succeed. This isn't the last year you're going to want to set goals. So you kind of got to take the long view. But you'd be surprised how many people employ that very strategy and their spouse watches that first video and goes, you know what? That sounds kind of exciting. Let's do it. So you don't know until you ask.
That's such a great tip, Michael. I love that. Man, these questions are coming in fast and furious. So I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. Let's do this one from John C. John C. said, how will this program be best beneficial for pastors or ministry leaders?
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of pastors, a lot of ministry leaders, a lot of heads of nonprofits that are in the Best Year Ever program. And it turns out that people that are in nonprofit organizations or in ministry also have goals, whether it's people that are trying to reach for their organization or a message or a cause that they're trying to get out. All those things work better when you set an intention, set a goal, hold yourself accountable, and enroll or take advantage of the group to help you get there. So it's totally appropriate. I would say probably, Mandy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, probably 25 to 30% of the people that are in Best Year Ever are people that are coming from that kind of ministry or nonprofit background.
I think that's absolutely true, Michael. And we're getting some questions on the flip side. For example, we had a question come in from Matthew who said, I'm wondering if this would be a good spend for my business. Will this help me hit my sales and revenue goals for these last 2 quarters?
Oh, totally. I mean, I developed this course and this whole process out of trying to do that very thing, trying to hit the numbers that I was being held accountable for in corporate America. And I saw what my colleagues were doing, and I was going, gosh, what typically people do is they take whatever they did last year and they just, notch it up a smidgen, whatever is the least they can get away with. And so often they miss those goals because they're not inspiring or compelling. So yes, this absolutely will work for you in your professional life. I don't care if you're responsible for revenue or for profit or some other metric, this will work for you. And I think it'll really give you the edge, particularly with your colleagues. When they look at you and see you accomplishing big goals, seeing you get promoted, oh my gosh, this will help you do that.
That's awesome. Okay, Michael. So a question here from Bill in Colorado. Bill said, my biggest problem is procrastination. Last year I retired, and so I have lots of time, but I still find that I'm constantly procrastinating. I'm finding excuses to do anything but what I should be doing. So how do I finally get out of that habit?
Yeah, procrastination is a problem for a lot of people, and there are a lot of different reasons for it. And I go into some of those in the course, but one of the biggest ones is people have not connected with their why. In other words, they don't have a compelling reason why the goal that they're pursuing is really at stake, and they don't know what's at stake positively or negatively. Once you flesh that out, and we do this in day 4, once you get specific statements about what you can gain or what you can lose by accomplishing that, it's hard to be motivated just to hit some goal. But when you truly understand what's at stake, all of a sudden you find the motivation to really go for it.
That's true. Michael, day 4 was probably my favorite day of the course. And it was one of the ones that I was the least excited about, that I was ready to just power through and get on to the good stuff of actually like writing down those goals and start pursuing them. But to really finally emotionally connect with why you are passionate about achieving that goal has been part of the secret sauce. And you walk through that process so clearly in the course. And I
Well,
absolutely
thank you.
love that content. We've
Well,
heard so many people say that content was transformative for them.
yeah, I was going to say that too. You're not the only one. That is a big day, and it is particularly important when you get like, a couple months into this, and maybe you don't have the same motivation that you started with. And this is where New Year's resolutions fall short. But that's why these reasons, your motivations, when you get to that place, when you reconnect with those, you go, oh yeah, that's what's at stake. That's why this goal is important. That's why I must accomplish it. It wouldn't just be nice, but it's a must do.
That's so awesome, Michael. Well, we have got so many people who are reporting back to us here that they have just joined the course, which is so fantastic.
Awesome.
Zarina says, I just signed up for VIP. Great webinar. I'm looking forward to it. And Lori said, I just registered and I'm very excited. I accomplished some major goals this past year, but I want to double that in the rest of 2016. And I know this program is going to help me. And finally, we also had Patty who signed up, who said, I signed up for the VIP course and I am so excited to do this with my husband together. It's going to be a surprise summer gift for him.
Love that. This is a great gift, but especially to do it with your spouse, if you can do that, is terrific.
That's so awesome. All right, Michael. Well, a few more questions here before the clock expires on us. We've got just a minute left, and I want to sneak in a few more. So here's a question from Brad that I love because I think it's relevant because we're all so busy. And Brad said, my biggest concern is that I'm just too busy. I've got a lot on my plate, and I'm worried that I'm going to buy this course and never actually finish it. So, how long does it really take to do this?
Yeah, I want to say one thing about busyness. A lot of people are busy, but they're not moving toward the right goal. It's like, I think Stephen Covey said, it's like climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. You may get to the top of it and realize, whoa, I was working hard. I was very busy, but this is a goal that ultimately is not that important. So one of the things that we do in Best Year Ever is really get you focused on the right goals so that your busyness is directed and helping you achieve what matters most. But in terms of how much time it actually takes, you're really looking at about 45 minutes on average per day over the course of 5 days. If you want to, you don't have to do it over 5 days. You can do it in a half-day session, maybe a Friday afternoon or a Saturday morning or a Sunday night. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but it's not that much content. In fact, one of the things that we commonly hear from people is that this is one of the first courses that they've actually gotten through. So it's not padded out with fluff. It's news you can use. It's all meat. And we try to be as succinct and brief as possible.
That's so true, Michael. We get so much great feedback about the brevity of the course. We've really tried to keep the content nice and tight and very practical and
Yep.
actionable so that you can consume it, you can understand what your mission is, and then go accomplish it. And we've had so many people say, exactly as you mentioned, man, I finally finished a course. I got all the way through all of the content.
Imagine that.
Yes. And I don't know, Michael, I read something fantastic the other day about busyness. It said, stop saying I'm too busy and start saying it's not a priority and see how that tastes
Yeah.
instead. And man, it was just the kind of tough love that I needed in the moment because so often it's easy to say, man, I just don't have time to hit the gym today. I just don't have time to have that date night with my spouse, or I just don't have time to accomplish that major project. And to instead say, it's not a priority to have a date night.
It's
It's
true.
not
I
a
mean,
priority to take care of my body. Tastes a lot different.
it's a lot different. And that's the visiting the honest planet, being really truthful with yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think for those who might be thinking that they're too busy to implement this course, you're too busy not to. Those dreams
Yep,
and goals that you
absolutely.
want to accomplish are so important. And this course is going to help you to expediently start accomplishing those things. All right, Michael. So let's see here. Another question that came in. This is from Jennifer. Jennifer said, is the Best Year Ever program only for people in business? I'm a stay at home mom and I spend most of my days corralling kiddos. Would this be helpful to me?
Yeah, it absolutely would be. We've got lots of homemakers that are in the course. You don't have to have a full-time job. But if you want to achieve the things that matter most, whether it's, a relationship with your children or a relationship with your spouse or your health, all these things that, to be honest, it's really easy to let go. And I know that there are a lot of stay-at-home moms that can be so consumed with serving other people, serving the people in their family, that they don't have an appropriate level of self-care and they don't feel like they're making the progress. And I can tell you from talking to hundreds of these women and some men who get to the end of that child raising part of their lives and just go, man, what do I have to show for this? I mean, the kids are raised and I don't have the connection with my husband. I let my health go. I don't want that to be you. It's possible to get it all done, but only if you have the right system. And that's what we provide in Best Year Ever.
That's so true, Michael. Well, we're short on time here. I want to sneak in just another question or two. But before I do, we have had some incredible testimonials coming in from some Best Year Ever alumni who are actually
Oh,
joining
cool.
us here on the webinar today. So let's see. We got one from Matt who said, it is so true that Best Year Ever is good for couples. I did it by myself my first year and it was great. I tripled my income, but I did it last year with my wife and it was unreal. It was better than thousands of dollars of counseling, to be honest, which is amazing.
Fantastic. Love hearing that.
Yes. Abby said, I'm going on my third year in Best Year Ever, and it has been transformational. Thank you so much, Michael. And Larry said, I worked through Best Year Ever in 2015, and it moved me forward like never before.
Oh, great. Love it.
We absolutely, I mean, we live on these kinds of results from the students who go through this course. I mean, it just fires us up so much.
Totally. Energizes me like you can't believe.
Well, here's one more that I absolutely loved. We had Sue, who's joining us live here on the line, who said, I'm an alumni. Last year was awesome and made me want to come back to improve even more. It is definitely worth the investment. I got so much from both Michael's quality content and the super Facebook community, so do not miss this. The lens of how I look at my life has changed for the better and just keeps getting better.
Fantastic. Love that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Thank you.
And so, Michael, as our clock is about to expire here, I do want to kind of end on time and give a chance for those who need to sneak away to get on with their days. So, can you share some final thoughts with us for those who, gosh, maybe are still on the fence? You know, they've watched this whole presentation. They're just not sure if Best Year Ever is right for them, especially here at the midway point of the year. What would you have to say to those folks?
Yeah. Well, I would say a couple things, Mandy. Something I said in the webinar, and I want to repeat, you're not here by accident. There was something about this that drew you here today. And I want to say to you, if that's you, and it is you, because you wouldn't be on this webinar still hanging on if you didn't believe that, your time is now. This is the time when you need to put a stake in the ground. And whether it's my program or somebody else's program, it's time to get focused like you've never been focused before, to articulate for yourself, to get the clarity on what's important, why it's important, and what you're going to focus on now. Because the truth is, you can't afford to put your life on pause, to put it on hold and hope that someday, some way you get to it. The time is now. And I want to encourage you to do it now. Your life's too important. The people that are in your life deserve a better you. They deserve results that are going to affect them. And I want to encourage you to get started now. There's no time like the present. We can help you get there, and it'll make a huge difference. And of course, there's the money back guarantee. So there's really nothing to risk. Give it a shot. I really, really believe it'll make a huge difference for you.
That's awesome, Michael. Well, for those of you who need to go ahead and sneak away, we are going to officially close the webinar right now. And so if you've been wondering about joining, thinking about joining, now is absolutely your moment. As Michael mentioned earlier, registration for Best Year Ever closes in just 2 days at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on June 9th. So time is short, and you've got to register during this webinar if you want to get that special fast action bonus that Michael mentioned. So head on over to bestyearever.me/VIP. Again, bestyearever.me/VIP to sign up for the course now. Now, Michael, if you've got a few extra minutes, we've got a few more questions flooding in, and
Sure.
I'd love to take a few extras. So for those of you who need to go, feel free, but we're going to keep answering questions for those who are still here on the line with us.
Terrific. Yeah.
So, Michael, just rapid fire. We've gotten a bunch of practical questions about the course. So, here's one that came from Gwen. Gwen said, when will all the modules be available?
Gwen, all the modules are available the moment you log in. So everything's there, all the bonuses, all the videos, the transcripts, the MP3 files, everything is available the moment you log in.
Absolutely. And a similar question from Steve. Steve said, how long will I have access to the 5 videos? Do I get them all year?
Yes, you have access to them all year. You can even download this content if you want, but it's available to you all year long.
Awesome. And here was a great question from Kevin. Kevin said, I live outside of the US. Can I still download the course?
Yes. The great thing about the internet is that wherever you have an internet connection, you've got access to the course. I don't care if you live in South Africa or if you live in South America or North America or Europe or Asia. Absolutely doesn't matter. It's available anywhere where you can get an internet connection.
That's true, Michael. And we've got people who join us from all of those countries and all of those continents. And it's amazing to get in there into the VIP group and see the interaction from people all over the world who are having their best year ever this year. It's so exciting.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So here's a question from Diane. Diane said, once I complete the course and finish viewing it, what are the benefits of continuing to have access to it until the end of the year?
Well, there are going to be times that you want to review this, or maybe you want to share it with your spouse, if you got them enrolled in the concept. But yeah, I think to go back and be able to see it when maybe you're feeling a little discouraged or you're feeling like you're not making the progress, or maybe you're trying to fine tune or tweak a goal, you can go back and review the content that pertains to that. So yeah, having access to it all year long, I think is a huge benefit.
That's so true, Michael. Now, here's a question from Joe, and we get this question frequently. So, Joe, you're not the only person asking this one. Joe said, I'd love to have just a little bit more time to think about this. Can I join next week?
No. And
Unfortunately, not.
and we do that on purpose. We do
Mhm.
that on purpose because we know that human nature is to procrastinate. And so we want to create a sense of urgency. Again, you've got a 30-day money back guarantee. So there's nothing at risk. If you get into this and it's not everything I said it would be, if it's just not for you, fine. Just ask for your money back and we'll give it without questions and we'll give it promptly. But yeah, we have that deadline there for a reason and we don't apologize for it. We know you need it.
That's true. And I mean, especially at this point in the year, we don't want you to lose any more time against making progress on those goals before the end of the calendar year. So we really want you to take action right now. And so we've set this deadline to get you in the program so that you can leverage these next 6 months. But as Michael mentioned, there's really no risk here. We've got a 30-day money back guarantee. And so if the course isn't right for you, you can get your money back. But we really want to encourage you to get moving right now. And that's what that deadline is all about.
Yep.
Now, Michael, a question from Chandra. Chandra said, what level of interaction with Michael do participants get during the Best Year Ever process?
Yeah, well, you get access to me on the quarterly calls so that you can ask your questions. Also, in the Facebook group, I jump in there from time to time, answer questions. You'll get a monthly coaching video from me in that area. And the questions there in particular, I pay attention to because I've delivered some new content that's designed to help you keep your momentum and keep progressing towards your goal. And so I'm answering questions there. So that's pretty much it.
Fantastic. So here's a great question from Roger because not everyone's gone through an online course before. And Roger said, I've never bought a course like this before. Is it really worth the investment?
Wow. Well, I mean, what would you expect me to say? I mean, absolutely. I think it's worth the investment
It's a
because
tough question to answer about our own products.
well, I mean, if you think about it, if you could really get what you want in your professional life and in your personal life, and let's say that you set for yourself 9 goals between now and the end of 2016. Let's say you don't accomplish all of them. Let's say you accomplish half of them. Only you can answer that question. Would it be worth the investment of 297 to be able to get those results? Whether it's a weight loss goal or a relational goal or a financial goal, whatever it is. Would it be worth it to you? Only you can answer that question. For me, you know, absolutely, I would do this. I mean, I buy courses all the time, and here's why. The alternative to letting somebody help you is to figure it out on your own. And I can promise you this, that's not how people who get big results do it. That's the slow way to do it because you basically are destined to commit all the mistakes that the rest of us have committed, and it just takes longer, and it's more frustrating, and you go through a lot of, into a lot of dead ends and don't get the results you want. But when you learn on other people's mistakes, like what we do in Best Year Ever, you can go further faster. That's the nature of coaching, and that's why I really believe in it.
That's such a great response there, Michael. And I feel like the real question isn't, is it worth the investment? It's, are you worth the investment?
Yeah,
Are your dreams worth the investment? Is your family worth the investment? Your business, your finances, whatever your goals might pertain to, are you worth that investment? And I think for every single one of you listening in, if you're still on this webinar, you know that there's a goal that you really want to achieve this year, or maybe a handful of goals that are really important. And I've got to tell you, I believe that you're worth that investment. Michael believes that you're worth that investment.
absolutely.
Really believe you can have your best year ever. And we've seen tens of thousands of people have their best year ever with this course. And so we really want those results for you too. Now, Michael, we have a bunch more people flooding into the course, which I'm so excited. Every time we see a new name of someone who has joined the course, we get so jazzed about it because it's another new story of transformation we know we're going to be reading next year. So Nikki Watkins said, "This is brilliant, and I am so excited to start my VIP course." And Zach said, "My wife Amanda and I just joined and cannot wait to get started."
Great.
Carolyn said, "I just registered and I am pumped to be part of the VIP Best Year Ever crew." So all of
Fantastic.
you guys, welcome. We're so excited to have you with us. We cannot wait to interact with you in the VIP group this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, Michael, before we close, I want to answer just one more question that came
Okay.
in from Matt. just because I think it's probably on a lot of people's minds. And Matt said, there's a moment that everyone comes up against, even when you follow all of these tips. It's too early, you're too tired, you've got too much going on, and you just don't want to do it. So, is this course going to be helpful in those moments when I just can't seem to follow through?
Absolutely. And let me just say for the record, I have those moments too.
Really?
Yes, shockingly, but
Even
yes,
Michael Hyatt.
my family would tell you yes. My wife, especially Gail, would tell you. We've been married for 38 years now, and she would tell you that there are times when I'm at the end of the day and I'm just tired. I may be discouraged or whatever. Sometimes it's as simple as getting a good night's rest. Just kind of recharging the batteries, changing my perspective, and just kind of the newness of the day makes all the difference in the world. But I do give you some hacks around that very thing. And actually, one of the hacks I do give you in the course is sometimes you just need to get a good night's rest. Maybe you need to catch up on your sleep a little bit, but then you need to refocus on what we cover in day 4, which is those motivations, just to review for yourself again, what's at stake. These goals that we come up with, I mean, they're not trivial. They're not frivolous. The kinds of goals that I'm going to help you create are goals that matter. They're going to matter to you. They're going to matter to your loved ones. They're probably going to matter to your organization. They might even matter to the world. And when you can get reconnected with that and see that what you do and who you are really does matter, that there are a lot of people counting on you, then all of a sudden it's easier to get that motivation to finish. I can think back when I ran my first half marathon. And I mean, when I got to about mile 12, I thought, first of all, what was I thinking? And, I wanted to quit, but then I remembered that I had pledged to raise money for a children's school that I care very much about in Franklin, Tennessee, New Hope Academy. And so now all of a sudden, I wasn't just running for me. It wasn't about me. It was about those kids, about the people that had pledged that if I finished, they were going to make a contribution to that school. So when you can realize what's at stake, when you're there in the messy middle, that can make all the difference. And we help you do that in day 4 of the course.
Fantastic, Michael. Well, I really appreciate your time delivering this content to us today, and especially your time here in the Q&A answering all of these questions. And so we do want to officially bring this webinar in for a landing, but for those of you who have stuck with us all the way through to this point, I just want to encourage you that it's not too late to register. We are going to track the end of this webinar time. And so even though our clock has long since expired, you can still get your hands on that fast action bonus. We promise we will make it available to you. Just head on over to bestyearever.me/VIP to grab that now. And Michael, for those folks who are listening into this Q&A who obviously still have some questions, do you have some final thoughts for them?
The final thoughts are just do it. I think sometimes we stay stuck because we're overthinking stuff. And we've tried to give you a safety net, which is the money back refund policy. So there's no risk. What are you waiting for? You could get different results this year. I hope you'll make a decision to invest in yourself, to invest in your loved ones, and to invest in your future. I can't make you, obviously, but I hope you'll make the right decision. And if so, we'll see you on the inside of the course, and I'll do my very best to help you.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Michael, for all of your insight today and for your time. I know that it was hugely beneficial for everybody who's joining us. And so we just really appreciate you sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you, Mandy.
And I want to say a special thank you to all of you for joining us on this webinar. We know you guys are busy. We know you've got a lot on your plate, and we really appreciate you sharing your time with us today. We certainly hope that this insight has been helpful to you, and we really hope that you will join us inside of the Best Year Ever course. I have gone through this course myself and gotten incredible results. I've checked off more goals in this first 6 months of the year than I have in any year prior because of this course, and I know it's going to work for you too. And so I really want to encourage you guys to head on over to bestyearever.me/VIP. Again, bestyearever.me/VIP. You've got just another minute or two here before we officially wrap this webinar that you'll have access to that special fast action bonus. So don't delay, it's available to you now. And I can promise you that Michael's training in this course, as well as the coaching calls that you're going to get every single month, and our quarterly live Q&A sessions, and especially that Facebook group where you're going to get camaraderie and you're going to get accountability and encouragement and community. are the missing ingredient that is really going to help you win with goals this year. So don't delay any longer. Head on over to bestyearever.me/VIP to join us now. And we cannot wait to dialogue with each and every one of you inside of the course. Thank you so much for your time today. We look forward to seeing all of you there. Take care, guys.
See you guys.